Peter Munro, your background is in chemical engineering with a PhD from University College London. You are a lecturer at Auckland University in chemical engineering, was appointed Professor of Food Engineering at the Massey University, and joined New Zealand Dairy Research Institute, which became the research and development arm of Fonterra, which is home to some of Australia's favourite dairy brands. Peter Munro, hello and welcome to Talking Trading.
Great to be on Talking Trading, Carolyn, after listening to it for so many years.
It's so good to have you on. Now, you were a mentoree in 2017 and a boardroom member in 2019. Is that right?
Exactly right.
Okay, so let's find out about you. You invest as well as trade. You've been a long-term investor. Why did you decide to learn how to trade with Louise Bedford and Chris in the mentor program in 2017?
Well, I've been investing in shares since late 1998. And in the early 2000s, I bought three of Louise's books because I like to read a few things about shares. And I liked the ideas in the books, but I was quite busy in my career. But 2008, 2009, I started looking at the mentor program. Decided it would be quite demanding to do with a full-time job. And at that stage, I was managing a team at Fonterra Research Centre of about 120 staff. And I was also involved in church leadership. So I waited till I retired in mid-2017 and then did the mentor program in 2017. Now, two reasons, really. I thought it was worth seeing if I could get better returns from trading than from investing. And then secondly, because I was retired and I had a demanding job, I wanted something to keep me mentally alert and fit. And I thought learning something new would be great.
Keep those neural channels popping. So look, from your professional background, PhD, University College London, you're obviously a very hard worker and obviously spend a lot of time managing people. Has it been worth your time and energy and focus to learn how to trade?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been superb from two things. It's kept my brain going well. I'm nearly 70 and I'm still mentally very fit. I intend to keep that way as I age by keeping on with trading. And also I've got a good financial return. I've specialised in shares rather than other things, and I've got a good return. And with regard to me being a very hard worker, I've worked hard enough, but I always have focused on working smart rather than hard, thinking about what I do, sorting out my priorities, and working smart as well.
Give us more about working smart.
Well,
how do you work smart?
Early in my university career, when I was Professor of Food Engineering, I used to think about what was important in the job. I worked shorter hours than most of the people in the department, but I had the biggest research program in the department. I had a normal teaching load, and I also managed the department. And it was just by figuring out how to do things efficiently rather than spending long hours at them.
You know, my partner, he wrote the university course at Notre Dame for orthopedics, and he reversed engineered it. He got the 10 most common problem in orthopedics, and he made those the syllabus. I thought that was working hard. Is that something you do?
Yeah, I didn't focus too much on the teaching, but because in the university it's your research that gives you the reputation and also promotion. I guess by focusing on research, that's how I got to be professor at a relatively young age. So didn't rewrite any courses.
Can I call you Professor Peter?
I prefer not to. No, it's just only a university title for the people who get into senior positions. So call me Peter.
All right. Peter, let's talk about your trading results. You mentioned them in the last answer. Can you specifically refer to them and how they compare to your investing results?
Yeah, it's not an easy question to answer well. I'm tempted to say it's too early to tell, but since you've asked it, I've been investing for 20 years, and over those 20 years, I've got an 11.8% compound return. Now, that doesn't sound very much, but if you take 100,000 and invest it for 20 years at that return, you end up with 930,000. So when interest works for you, even at that sort of rate. Now, for trading, I started trading November 2017 when I finished the mentor program. So I've been doing it for 3 complete years, and my compound return over those 3 years is 15.5%. So it's somewhat better than the investing returns. And so that means over 3 years, it was up 54%. And if you look at the ASX 200, it was up 0.3% over this year. So trading has beat the industry, or that index, pretty well. It's not quite that simple, because in 2020, my investing portfolio much better. It was up 36% for the year. My trading portfolio only up 21% here. So I expect that it will fluctuate a bit from year to year. I'm expecting, as I get more experienced at trading, that the trading returns will be better. That's my expectation.
Which portfolio do you enjoy looking at more, trading or investing?
Oh, look, I enjoy them both. I don't know which one I enjoy more. Yeah, they're both fun in a different way.
Nice. So I feel like I should call you Professor Peter after those returns. They're really substantial returns. What do you like about the combination of the long-term investing and the shorter-term trading?
Yeah, well, I've found that they complement one another quite well. And my investing returns have improved a bit since I started trading. And part of that is that in trading, you scan the Australian share market each week, and I look at the companies and what they do, and a little bit at the fundamentals. And some of the ones that come up in my scans, I put in my investment portfolio, and those have done very well as well. And because I've got 20 years knowledge of the share market, then that helps my trading, because I understand how the share market works. So if a company comes up with a takeover bid or there's a share purchase plan, I know exactly what to do. And the two approaches make money in different ways at different times. For example, the key buying question in investing is, where do I expect the price of this share to be in, say, 5 years or 10 years' time? And I've used a newsletter called Market Analysis by James Cornell as my main guide for the investing portfolio to answer that question. Whereas in trading, your main question is it trending upwards, and has it broken out yet?
Yes.
Questions. Now, an example of how different they are, at the bottom of the COVID dip in March 23rd last year, 2020, in the investing portfolio, I thought, well, some of these shares have been beaten down so much, they're really good value. In 5 years' time, they're going to be worth heaps more. We bought a little travel software company called Serco for $1.60, and about a month ago it was $7.80. It's gone down a bit since then. So that's the investing approach, whereas the trading approach basically says, well, wait till the market's recovered a bit and everything's trending up well before you buy anything.
You definitely sound like a market bug. It definitely suits you. Louise and I often talk about how engineers have a natural affinity for the markets and trading. Do you feel that yourself?
Well, engineering is all about calculations and numbers, and trading is also all about numbers. So yes, a numbers brain, and engineers like to design and invent new things. So taking a few risks is not a problem to an engineer, whereas accountants tend to be very risk averse. They're also numbers people. So yeah, it fits well for an engineer.
Professor Peter, you said you managed a lot of people in your career at one stage, 120 people. Now, you're a big believer in self-development, which you'd have to be if you're a boss of so many people. How does self-development apply to your trading and investing?
Well, I started off as a university lecturer, and nobody cared about your development in that. career. And so I had to think about it myself. How am I going to develop myself to my potential and be the best I can be? How am I going to be excellent at it? Then I shifted to Dairy Research Institute, and I had a boss responsible for advising me on my self-development. And just one short story, at one of my annual performance reviews, a boss told me I was commercially naive. And I said, what do I do about it? He said, you should invest in the share market because you want to understand companies and how they make money. And so that advice got me into the share market, but it also helped me in my career. How I moved on to management position. Trading, that same ethos or that same thinking. How am I going to develop myself to be the best trader that I can possibly be? Applies, and that's why I took on the mentor program. And when I got the opportunity, I took on trading Boardroom as well to develop myself as fast as I could, be as good as I could at trading.
How have you developed yourself? If we did a before and after picture, what ways would you say you've improved mentally or psychologically?
Well, I think early on in many people's lives, things that aren't good happen to them, and they tend to blame the circumstances.
Yep.
Whereas, as you develop, you think, no, I'm responsible for everything that happens in my life. So you, I guess you just change your mental approach. You become much more positive about life. You become much more in control of what you're doing. And the same is true in trading. You are the only one who puts the trades on and takes them off. The market is completely benign. That same thinking is very useful for trading.
I like that. The market's completely benign. If your position size is correct, the market's completely benign.
Yes.
Can you give us a snapshot of your life before the Trading Game Mentor program and now that you're part of the Trading Game team?
I think the main differences that it has caused are, as I said, it's kept me mentally alert and alive. The share market doesn't care how old you are. There's no boss to tell you, you're too old, you have to stop trading. So for a retired person, it's an ideal thing to keep you mentally alert. And the second thing, yeah, it's given me a good return on the money that I've invested. So that's been really positive as well. So that's the main difference.
Do you feel proud of the money you've invested and your returns?
I feel fulfilled, blessed if I can put it that way. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm proud. No, it's just something that I've done and enjoyed and been successful at.
So what's been the easiest thing to learn about trading? And then I'd like to flip it around and ask you, what's been the hardest thing about trading, Mr. Professor?
Well, the easiest thing for me was the price fluctuations and the total uncertainty of what's going to happen. I've been in the share market long enough to understand all that already. Some people find that tricky. The hardest part actually was to select a trading universe, because in the mentor program, they teach you to trade everything: commodities, forex, indices, shares, and selecting a universe and also getting a set of trading plan rules that fitted my personality. That was the hardest. I'm getting there, but I'd say I still haven't got it perfect. There's still things I could improve.
In regards to those trading rules, can you give us some of them as an example of how they were hard to determine?
Well, where to set a trailing stop, your share is going up, I found, because many of the ones I've bought are quite small shares. They go up fast, they come down fast. And the normal way of setting stops would lose much of your profit. To find a rule that fitted my psychology, because I wasn't psychologically able to give back so much profit.
Oh, Peter, I find it so therapeutic talking to other traders. These are exactly the same issues I had. So it's so helpful to talk to other traders. How are you going to enjoy your retirement, Mr. Professor Peter Munro?
Well, when I did Trading Boardroom, Louise asked us a question in the psychology part course. The essence of a question is, what are you doing to care for yourself? Now, I'd already been retired for years, and so I had thought about it a lot, and that question made me crystallize it and put it into a sort of plan. And to me, there's 5 key elements in looking after yourself. And fitness in one of these areas helps to assist with your fitness in the other 4 areas. So I'll just go through them quickly. This one is physical fitness. The week I retired from work, I wrote a plan to keep myself physically fit with aerobic exercise, that's mainly walking, resistance exercise to keep my muscle tone, flexibility exercises because my mind tends to tighten up a bit, and balance exercises so that I don't get unstable and doddery as I grow older. And I do those exercises regularly. Now, mental fitness, second thing. I think it's really important to keep yourself mentally active as you grow old. And I've already talked about trading, and the mentor program and Boardroom has been really good for me in that regard. The third one is spiritual fitness. And I'm a committed Christian. I attend church, I read the Bible. And to me, spiritual fitness is also really important and is one of the 5. The fourthly, social fitness. Some people, as they get older, tend to isolate themselves socially. I think it's really important to keep up your social fitness as you age. And for me, the church community and the home group that my wife lead is an important part of that. And then fifthly, financial fitness. Personal finances are in bad order. Then you tend to worry about that a lot. You put a lot of energy into it, and it takes your focus off the other 4 things. So to me, these 5 things are really well integrated together, really important. And so an overriding principle is I try to keep myself busy and active, not so much that there's any stress involved significantly. A bit challenged, but not too much challenge.
Peter, you come across as one of those professors who have everything worked out. What do you love about Chris and Louise? What are you drawn to them? Why are you drawn to them?
Well, the advertisements on the trading game website are really good, but when you actually join the mentor program, the thing that impressed me is they are very experienced traders and still very active. So when they're talking to you about something, they've scanned the share market that week, or they've looked at the commodities that week. So it's not theory, it's actually how this works in practice and how I'm doing it this week. And secondly, I think they're very good teachers, and they set very good homework assignments. They're quite different teaching styles, work very well. But in addition to that, they're also, I'll call them caring and loving and kind, and also very generous. I'm used to being part of a church community which is supposed to be loving and kind, and I've been fortunate that the communities I'm part of have been. The trading game community has got some of the same characteristics, buddy groups that they form and the forums. There's lots of people in the community of trading game caring about others and willing to help others in their trading journey. And positive ethos is something that Chris and Louise have worked for years to develop, I know. The other thing I like is that they encourage you to develop your own ideas and your own system. They don't say, this is my system, do it this way. They say, here's some principles, develop your own. And then the last thing that I like about them that intrigues me, I've been in management for many years, are very, very different people. Chris, a very introverted person, Louise, very extrovert. And often you see 2 people like that clash, but they're both smart enough to know that that difference is actually a real strength and not a weakness. And so they complement one another very well in running trading game.
I couldn't have put any of that better. And Peter, you're a very, very valued member of the trading game program. Thank you so much for coming on to Talking Trading. You weren't sure whether the interview would be fantastic. And let me tell you, that was a fantastically interesting interview.
Well, thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been fun, and it meets my retirement criteria. A bit challenging, but not too challenging to cause much stress. So thanks very much. It's been fun.
Peter, is there any last piece of advice you want to give traders who are in a similar situation to you?
Well, I think trading is like most other things in life. If you take it seriously, if you do your homework, and if you keep your brain in gear when you're doing it, it rewards you well.
Professor Peter Munro, let's talk again. Thanks for your time.
You're very welcome.